Adaptations. Among anime fans, manga readers, and light novel readers alike, debating which version of a particular series is better through presentation, planning, and overall story development has been a global conflict spanning decades, with some targeted series requiring a moderation team that rivals the Geneva Convention, and typically there's always one specific argument to be made. The manga or light novel is better than the anime, whichever one is the true source material for that particular series. That being said, occasionally you come across an adaptation that not only blows the source material out of the water, but adds to it in a way that fills the gaps the original source material failed to. All things considered, I'm willing to admit that those instances are very few and far between, being a light novel and manga reader myself, with my favorite series, 86, which still hasn't gotten a season 2 announced, by the way, being a very close toe-to-toe with the anime and the first 3 volumes of the light novel series, which not only received a rather faithful adaptation with only a few minuscule moments being cut out that don't hold much importance to the main storyline, but also improved on the storytelling tenfold with the near flawless visual presentation and accompanying soundtrack. Fortunately, the same case can be said for a more recent adaptation, also from A1 Pictures, Solo Leveling, which not only built on the visuals of the original manga to a satisfactory degree, but also filled very crucial gaps in the story that originally left even the most devoted fans of the series wondering if those gaps could have been filled to some capacity. And luckily for you, the Wizard of Anime himself has come back just to tell why, without a doubt in my mind as of season 2 airing, Solo Leveling's anime is better than the manga. Let's take a deep dive into it, shall we? Solo Leveling is an action fantasy series that has had its stunning visuals and story brought to life by A1 Pictures, and tells the story of Sung Jin-woo, an E-rank dungeon delving hunter in a world where strength means everything in this world of hunters and gates, where being an awakened hunter as an E-rank is already tantamount to being utterly useless, and Jin-woo being so weak to the point of being nicknamed the weakest hunter of mankind. However, after surviving a catastrophic event hidden inside a weaker dungeon that should have not been home to the horrors that he witnessed, Jin-woo becomes a player of the system, which in short makes him the only hunter in the world capable of increasing his magic and combat capability, whereas in every other case on the planet, what magic and abilities you have access to once you've awakened as a hunter stay at that level, and in no way, shape, or form can be increased. Unless you're a player, of course. This in turn begins Jinwoo's relentless journey on getting stronger to raise money for and protect his family, along with facing any imminent threats that may come his way. Now, for a quick explanation on rankings and gates so you're not too lost, ranks range from E, D, C, B, A, and S, with another tier categorized in S known as national level that doesn't hold too much relevance at the moment. As for gates, they showed up 10 years ago in verse as portals to another dimension and house various monsters, none of which can be harmed by conventional weaponry due to the lack of infusion of magic, hence birthing the appearance of hunters. If you want a more in-depth explanation, I already have a spoiler-free summary video on Solo Leveling that covers it pretty well, link in the top right and in the description. You don't really need it just yet to understand what I'm going to cover in this one, so I'll leave it at the end as well. Now, first off, since this is by far one of the biggest improvements to the manga I've seen so far, is properly fleshing out the side characters and giving them a chance to shine. One of the biggest issues that was brought up when talking about the imperfections of Solo Leveling's manga was how underutilized and underdeveloped the side characters were, since they were essentially just side pieces designed solely to make Sung Jin-woo look good, especially when concerning more prevalent characters throughout the story, such as Cha Hain, Baek Yoon-ho, and Choi Jong-i? Fuck dude, your name's hard to pronounce. Now it doesn't just include them, as there are some one-off characters from the manga like Park Hee-jin and Han Sung-ye who managed to get some well-deserved screen time for my fellow enjoyers of side characters. However, it's not just about screen time, as the main culprits mentioned above, Cha Hain, Yoon-ho, Fire Wizard Du, Woo Jin-chul, Go Gun-hee, they all have a lot more early story relevance in comparison to the manga counterpart, offering a lot more time to get to know these characters and understand their role in the story, especially when it concerns the events of the Jeju Island raid, which I'll get to later. That said, those of you who are well informed where the series is concerned and have caught up through season 2 have probably noticed the one person from that list that has undoubtedly been given the most attention, as well as her development slightly altered for the better, is Cha Hain. It's a given, really. She's the main heroine of the story, she has a powerful presence, and is in one of Korea's top 5 guilds, the Hunters Guild, which is more than relevant in the earlier stages of the series. But even putting all that aside in the original source material, she didn't really get much time to shine as her own character, outside of her interactions with Jinwoo and the very little time she got to interact with him before just deciding that she loves him, putting a lot of question into not only how the hell that even came about in the first place, but also who she is outside of being a pretty face. In the anime, there's not much room for that same argument, considering she gets screen time from the earliest episodes of the anime onward, letting viewers learn that she's a very serious, dedicated individual, and her interest in Jinwoo is shifted in a much more natural direction, with her less crushing on him from the get-go, and more so wanting to get closer to him in a similar way a little kid would want to get closer to their idol. He has something that she strives for, or rather, he is the perfect example of what she wants to be, strong enough to protect her compatriots. Of course, this is just one example of many character changes, but it's definitely the most obvious and the most significant, hence the focus, and God forbid that I mention Gina, otherwise it's gonna unleash a typhoon of you sister leveling gooners and end up making me lose my fucking mind. But since we're on the topic of significant character changes, it seems high time to talk about one particular character that went through a pretty subtle yet significant change in the anime in his own way. Of course, I'm talking about our beloved monarch, Sung Jinwoo. If there's one thing we can take from Jinwoo's transformation in the anime, it's that Jinwoo is much more conflicted about the positions he ends up finding himself in. He can sense that pieces of him are slowly getting chipped away the stronger he gets. He silently questions if this is the right path every time he's forced to kill someone to survive, and he isn't always confident in his ability to take down a powerful foe or do it quick enough, and it's wonderful. Yet it's also a point of contention within the community. I notice a lot of people don't like the change and practically worship how much of a badass he is in the manga, given how he's presented as more of an anti-hero than a hero. But honestly, it's really interesting to watch his depiction in the anime as he wrestles with his humanity as more time passes. Now, of course, there are still moments where his confidence is soaring through the roof, only to get beat down like a dead horse, but that's just classic Jinwoo fashion. He needs to have these moments where he's reminded that there's something above him in the food chain, otherwise there wouldn't be any reason for him to get stronger. You wouldn't feel the need to level up in a game if you were gapping everyone else below you, now would you? Yet, character changes aside, no amount of alterations would trump the biggest improvement of them all, and that is the better usage of foreshadowing and story continuity that works to really bring together the first half of Solo Leveling. I'm of course talking about the Jeju Island raid. Now, Jeju Island is by far the most hyped arc in the series, and while a large part of that is due to one of the ridiculously powerful enemies later becoming Beru, one of Jinwoo's future shadows that is probably his most popular shadow among the Solo Leveling fandom, it's also a major turning point in Jinwoo's story where his monstrous power of the Shadow Monarch is showcased to the entire world. But in the manga, that was pretty much it. Everyone found out about Jinwoo, he got a new shadow, saved Shahin's life, no big deal. So they went and made it a big deal. Instead of Jeju Island kind of just showing up as a problem to be handled once again by Jinwoo, the anime takes a different approach, making it the most well-known threat to Korea since the very beginning of episode 1. We get to witness the third raid of Jeju Island, along with gradually witnessing how the aftermath of the failed raid has affected all of our characters, and how it gradually becomes a more and more urgent problem to deal with. They didn't just fail to reclaim the island, they all left something there. The island itself became a reminder of what happens if the hunters fail to accomplish their mission, and allow the monsters inside the gates to cross over into the real world, creating this source of contention and urgency for the story to tie together all the characters we come to know leading up to the 4th raid during the season 1 finale. Now, frankly, it seems like an obvious move. It didn't get too much attention outside of its isolated arc, yet the events following the raid are absolutely massive. So why not beef it up a bit, right? Well, what seems like a simple move in turn adds so much more significance to this one specific arc, turning it from another stepping stone for Jinwoo to conquer into a monumental event that shapes our major characters going forward. It solidifies Jinwoo's dedication to fight as a defender. It fortifies Shahin's resolve to surpass her own limits and conquer the mountain now standing before her. That mountain, of course, being Sung Jinwoo, and it signifies a great success that humanity does indeed have the capacity to stand against anything the gates throw at them. For now. Despite all the improvement, I won't lie, there are a few different scenes that ended up being cut, most of them being comedic relief from the shadows, which is disappointing, but honestly, I'm okay with that. The more serious tone of the anime sets a darker tone that lets you invest yourself in the character's actions, the consequences that follow those actions, and the journey going forward, forging ahead without looking back, and in one certain protagonist's case, leaving behind a shadow of death that will follow him wherever he goes. And with that, I thank you all for watching the dive into this ever-expanding journey of magic, warfare, and politics. If you enjoyed yourself, be sure to give the video a like and maybe even hit the subscribe button. It really does motivate me to make these videos, watching you guys react to them. And you can also chat with me and other dedicated weebs by joining my Discord, which I will leave a link to in the description below. Come join us, it's a good time, especially when my chat keeps bullying me for not uploading enough. Please help, I'm bleeding profusely. But of course, I messed up. How can I make a solo leveling video and not give you some action to sip on? After all, we're back, you sons of bitches.